So you wanted Gvardiol. You were willing to pay 110 million euros to get this player. But all of a sudden, the competition's too fierce. Real Madrid is involved and you're going after Badiashile. And a lot of people are asking, what about Levi Colwill? Well, I've got the answers for you. Moukoko, I was onto your agent from the very beginning, and guess what? I was correct. We're going to break that down. We're going to tell you what Ornstein's saying about him. And finally, Chelsea are wanting to go and get Declan Rice. And this has been known for a while. We know their intentions. We know why they're doing it, and we're going to be revealing it in this video because it's being strongly reported and touted. So all you have to do is stay tuned and remain here. But oh yeah, one more thing, I'm not at home, as you can see. Let's get on with the video. Welcome to the Kavkas, you guys. You already know where it is. Ratuhi, your favorite YouTube dietitian, is here. I've got the nutrients even abroad. It's normally sunny Madeira, but at this moment in time it's not sunny. I've got the weather, put it in a bag and dashed it over here, and it's been raining all day. But it's the perfect time for me to drop some Chelsea news for you guys the day before we restart our season again and we get what we love, the football. But before we get started, I need you lot to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, because without you lot, there's no progression in this game, because people aren't going to be watching. You lot don't watch, there's no point me making content because I'm just speaking into a camera like a weirdo. But otherwise, follow me on Instagram as well if you're interested in seeing what I'm getting up to here. I'm up to a lot of stuff. I'm basically always available if you guys want to hit me up with a question about football. But let's move on with the stories because they're juicy, they're big, and they're lovely to talk about. So around about yesterday or the day before that, before I came to the Madeira, a story came out about Badiashile, and I think I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but if I am, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be butchering your name, bro. I'm just terrible at pronouncing names that I haven't heard a commentator say. After I hear a commentator say 3-4 times, I'll know how to pronounce it beautifully. Trust me on that one. Chelsea are now linked with Badiashile, and Badiashile is a centre-back that plays on the left-hand side of a back three, or can play on as a left-handed in a back four. He's very good on the ball. He's very young. He's been touted and linked to Chelsea in the past before, but it seemed like Chelsea were going to go after Gvardiol. And this explains to me why Chelsea are going back after Badiashile. Gvardiol has become too expensive. He's become too mainstream. He's no longer become the alternative where it makes the most sense. Gvardiol made sense when he was available for 65 to 80 million euros at most, because Chelsea could then say this player could become a 110 million pound player. Yet at this present iteration of Gvardiol, he's only going to get more and more expensive, because after the World Cup, everybody understands what kind of player he is. He's a top 5 centre-half in the world potentially one day. That's how much of an asset you're going to be acquiring if you go and get a Gvardiol. But Chelsea are going to go for their plan B. Plan B, Monaco's Badiashile, 35 million euros. His contract's soon to be expiring. Young French defender, and he's rated very highly. He came through the crop of defenders where Konate, Upamecano, Wesley Fofana, William Saliba, and all of a sudden he's one of them, right? He's one of those defenders that French people are going crazy about. They're saying he's creme de la creme, he's amazing, and he's the one that we could see being in our backline for years to come. So Chelsea are doing their scouting job. But my question has to be here, and you guys already know me, I'm not a youth fanatic. I don't get crazy about, oh my god, we need to play La Cobham style ball. I'm very, very considerate and measured when it comes to, I want Chelsea to win trophies first, and if the players come through the rankings, then so be it. But this is where it gets very interesting. What does Levi Colwill have to do to be up in consideration? Because if we're getting Gvardiol, I understood that. But if we're going after Badiashile, who hasn't played in the Premier League, who is 23 years old, and would have to pay around 35 to 40 million euros to get, why don't we just give Levi Colwill a chance? Because Levi Colwill has already shown in a little bit of games that he's got potential. He's got a good passing range. He's extremely flexible, being able to play left back, left centre back, and potentially, I wouldn't be surprised if he can play left wing back, given his distribution and his comfort on the ball. So for me, this is very interesting that this is coming from Ornstein and Ornstein's camp, and it's evident the way Chelsea do business. We scout the French league like crazy, especially at this moment in time. The World Cup illustrated how many talented players there are in France, and that we haven't explored or found yet. So let's be realistic, let's be honest, and let's see how this fluctuates, because in my opinion, we're going to be linked with Gvardiol again in the near future. But that's just so whenever it comes to Moukoko, you already know the deal, right? I am very big on this player. I believe believe this player has a lot of attributes and a lot of talents that Chelsea could use. I actually miss players that are pure finishers. Yes, I want a little bit of link up. Yes, I want some technical comfort in receiving the ball in tight areas. But I do want you to know how to do your job. And as a striker, your job is very simple. It's to finish the chances. It's not very difficult to actually comprehend, right? If the ball comes to you in the right areas, I need a 1 in 3 rate. 1 in 3 chances need to be going in, 33%, maybe even 1 in 4. Because if you actually go and look at the players that are at the top of the echelons finishing and getting the most goals, they get a good frequency of chance. So for Moukoko to work, it means we would need some creators to develop those chances for Moukoko to finish. Now it's coming out why there is this resistance from Moukoko's camp to sign the deal. They want him in the Premier League. David Ornstein's coming out and he's rigorously reiterating the story that Moukoko's camp wants 7 million euros. They want 7 million euros a year for him to be paid on a 5-year deal. Dortmund are unwilling to match it. So initially they started off at the 3 to the 4, and now they've gone all the way up to 6. They do not want to go any higher, and I think this is the difficulty, right? Because they understand what's going to happen. If Moukoko gets this fee, there'll be other players that are going to ask when they're re-signing, hold on, why is this kid who's 18 years old, who hasn't achieved much in the game, yes, we see the potential, on more money than me, to the point where I am a contributor to your team on a weekly basis. Yes, he's contributing, but I'm doing just as much, if not more, in additional requirements, such as being a leader in a dressing room. So it's hard to balance a squad when you're consistently overpaying. And Dortmund don't want to break their wage structure. So Chelsea are still waiting. They're going to be willing to bounce at the opportunity. But at this moment in time, it's one that we need to explore. And I think with Moukoko, eventually he will re-sign because Dortmund will cave. But if he doesn't, Chelsea are front runners to get this player. Man United are interested, but they're not prime targets to go and get this player. That's my personal. Finally, a story on Declan Rice, and the Declan Rice story is heating up more than ever, and The Athletic once again has come out with a lot of interesting standpoints and some things that are really rattling me, and I don't want this to happen. So Chelsea's board, the past one, actively did not want to re-sign Declan Rice because they couldn't believe that investing in an asset that they already had and letting him go would be smart because of the optics. If you don't understand what the word optics means, it's what people from the outside looking in are seeing, right? If you realistically think about it, how does it look if you let something go for free but then you have to pay 80 million pounds to get it back? Not very good. It just shows that there's something wrong in your system. So the optics here would be that Chelsea were not a good team at spotting talent. They didn't want to go through that again. However, Bowley, Iqbali have come in and they want to change things up. It's very evident that they don't care what the long-term solution is, in the sense that if needed, they'll pay the money to bring him in to get the best in club. Whilst I agree with that sentiment, I do think we need to be very careful and considerate how much money we do spend, because money is not infinite. Money is scarce, right? It will eventually run out. It doesn't work where we're going to be actively always buying the best players. They're trying to build a policy in place that's almost bringing in the best young players through. Declan Rice is like the Gvardiol now. We already know who he is, we know what level of player he is, and we know eventually where he's going to be. So Chelsea know he's got 2 years left on his deal. West Ham are resigned that they're going to have to sell him in the summer because they don't want to get into the final year of his contract. It's 2 because he's got an option on his deal, guys. That's why. So I know in the past I've said 2024 is when it's his last year, but they've got an automatic option to reignite it to give him 1 more year. So essentially it's 2. They're not going to be bullied into selling for cheap. But this is where I'm starting to think now. Iqbali and Bowley are being reported that they kind of want to bring this player back because they believe of his talent and they believe the influential value that he could have, like off the pitch, and almost like, look, we brought back an asset that disappeared and now we brought it back and it was a mistake on the other era. What was very annoying for me to see in an interview with Iqbali, he was very critical of the Roman regime. He said that they didn't have much data analytics, they didn't have a good commercial value, they were very old-fashioned in the way they ran things. Listen, firstly, before you start criticizing Roman, in my opinion, I think we need to start winning some trophies. Whilst Roman lacked in some areas of most probably modernizing the club into the 21st century and making them an entity that would move along with time, with the analytics, with the fan experience, Roman did one thing, and that's win us trophies on a consistent basis. We never went more than 2 years without winning a trophy, and the sad reality is we're getting to that stage now where we're going to go 2 years most probably without winning a trophy, because I don't see us winning one this year. But people, I think before Gvardiol and Bowley start firing shots, they need to sort the mess that's in our house right now. Once we sort that out, once we start seeing what it is, in 10 years time, we can reflect and say, you know what, the way Roman done it was wrong. But until I see trophies and until I see some evidence to support our direction forward, I don't want to hear none of this nonsense. But this was the Kavkas View, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If the quality is a bit low, I'm going to be going around the house just to make sure that we get the most optimal lighting and you guys can hear me clearly and we can have a nice conversation and keep you guys up to date. I will be doing a review tomorrow. Whether it's straight after the game or not, I will let you know, but hit the bell notification. That is the best way of you lot making sure you stay up to date with me and what I'm doing. Peace out. I'm out. Have a nice day.